There's meninges. You guys know what the three meninges that surround the brain are called?
Dura mater, pia mater, and arachnoid mater?
Yeah, so what order they go in? What is this superficial tough one?
Dura?
That's the dura mater, okay? It literally translates to hard mother. Mater is German for mother, okay? Then you're gonna have an underside of that, which would be the arachnoid. Arachnoid means spider. So it should be like a spidery layer, but you normally can't see that once you pull it off. Then you'll have a pia mater. The pia mater is gonna be very delicate. It's hard to see. It gives it the shininess, okay? If I had a probe, I don't have a probe. Anybody bring their dissection kit with them?
Yeah.
You got it with you handy?
Yeah, it's right here.
Cool. So if you take a probe and you insert a probe into here, you can actually start to pull off the pia mater. Okay? It's very difficult to do that, but you can. So I'll just peel that back because he could ask you questions about that, I think.
Yeah, this.
Thanks. So if you kind of put this in one of these grooves right here, you start to pull. You might be able to see it. Probably not, because these brains are really... See that tiny thin layer that I'm pulling off right there? That's the pia mater. Okay? The very delicate layer that's going to actually touch the brain itself. Okay? So, do you know what this part of the brain is called? This part. That's the cerebrum. Okay? The cerebrum is going to have two hemispheres, a right and a left. So what goes between the right and left hemisphere is called the longitudinal fissure, right? So you have bumps on top of the cerebrum. Those are called gyri. And then you have grooves. Those are called sulci. I don't know if you guys need to know that. That's probably a little bit too much. But longitudinal fissure is going to split the hemispheres into right and left. You should probably know right and left hemisphere. Do you know all the lobes? Are you supposed to know all the lobes?
Never told us.
He didn't tell you?
To learn it?
Okay, well, I'll go over it just because. Just in case it randomly shows up. Okay? So, they're named after the bones where they're found. So, frontal lobe, right? Parietal lobe is right there. Occipital lobe is in the back here. Temporal lobe is on the sides. There's one other lobe. It's called the insula, which is deep to all of this, which he probably won't make you guys know. Okay? Do you know what this part is called?
Cerebellum?
That's the cerebellum, okay? It also has a right and a left. Oh, look, these guys try to cut theirs in half. Do you have so, I'm actually going to cut it in half. Let's see if I can do that. Because that one's a little iffy. So, on the inferior side, you want to be able to find a couple of things. So there's one thing right there. So this is part of my frontal lobe, okay? There's a little part here, and then there's this thing right here. What two cranial nerves are going to be part of the cerebrum?
1 and 2.
1 and 2. So guess what that is?
1.
Cranial nerve number 1, what's that called? Olfactory bulb. What does it sit in?
Cribriform plate.
The cribriform plates, okay? So that's why you have an olfactory bulb right there in the cribriform plates, because it's for smell, right? Do you know what this one is then?
Optic.
That's the optic nerve. So cranial nerve number 2. What does it go through?
Optic canal.
Optic canal. What bone is it a part of? Sphenoid. Sphenoid, okay? So the optic nerves are going to cross right here at what looks like an X. Okay, that is called the optic chiasma. Okay, chi is an X in Greek or Latin or whatever. But here's the reason, which they might not tell you because maybe they don't know. Everything in the brain is contralateral. So what that means is all of your sensory input and all of your motor output happens on the opposite side of the brain. So I'm moving my right hand. What side of my brain is going to do that? The left. Okay. Vision is the same. My right eye is taking in actually this part. What side of my brain is it going to go into? my left. So in order to do that, you have to cross pathways. That is why you have a crisscross right there, okay? That crisscross is going to be right near the sella turcica because the pituitary gland would come off right about here, okay? That means this part is the midbrain. This part is the pons. You see that little bump right there? Little poochy part, okay? That's the pons. Then you have another little kind of outgrowth right there. That's the medulla oblongata. For a sheep, their brain is more like this. Our brain is more like this. More like this. Okay, kind of like that. Maybe that's why this brain looks like this. Okay. So we're going to look on the inside too, so you guys know all those parts. I think you just need to know essentially the outside stuff and like where is the midbrain, where is the pons, where is the medulla, okay? So that is not the spinal cord. This is the spinal cord right here. This is not the spinal cord, okay? That one fell apart, so we'll take it away. So on the inside, what you're gonna have is, again, your cerebrum. Then you see this white matter, maybe? If you can see this like white part right here that kind of looks like an ear, that's called the corpus callosum, okay? The corpus callosum is gonna be a series of like white tracks, essentially, axons. They are gonna go like this, okay? They're gonna send information back and forth between right and left hemispheres. So that's what the corpus callosum is. The white matter that's right there. Maybe you can see it a little bit better on this one. You see that strip of white right there? That's the corpus callosum, okay? Then you're gonna have the center part right here. The center of the brain is called the diencephalon. The diencephalon includes the thalamus and the hypothalamus. Thalamus is the relay station. It sends everything around. Hypothalamus is like where you do most of your homeostasis. It regulates hormones. So it's important to know. The pituitary gland will come off right about here, but once you remove the meninges, it just pulls off, okay? So the next part is going to be the brainstem. So from here all the way to here, excluding that part, is the brainstem. The brainstem includes 3 different areas, right? The first area is called the midbrain because it is in like kind of the middle, right? It includes this little hump right here. So all of this part, that is the midbrain, including, oh man, I cut it in half because I like to show, including those little things right there, right? It looks like Bart Simpson's mooning you, okay? That is part of the midbrain, okay? Basically, that's just the other view of the Bart Simpson mooning you, right there. So the next part should be where that little poochy part is right there. So right here is the pons, okay? And then the medulla oblongata is the long part, mostly underneath the cerebellum. The medulla oblongata is the most important thing. Have you guys seen the movie The Waterboy? Yeah. What do they say about the medulla oblongata? Makes the alligator or crocodile ornery. Okay, that is a lie. Okay, that's what your frontal lobe does actually. Okay, the medulla oblongata is where all of your parasympathetic and sympathetic is going to happen. So your breathing rate, your heart rate is all done by the medulla oblongata. If you break your medulla oblongata, you will die. You will not be able to breathe anymore. Okay, which is unfortunate that it's at the base of the brainstem. So that is going to be the spinal cord. Okay, I think that's everything. Did you guys read your lab manual?